Hello, and welcome to a live stream to discuss Take the Crown Duel Tournament 2. It's a very creative name that we've come up with for the second Duel tournament, but excited to be here and discussing this along with one of the other people that helped create this great event in 2020. Do, how's it going?
Hey man, it's fine.
Good. Um, So we thought it would be a fun idea to talk about and recap all of the qualifiers that we've had over the last month or so. But just to give sort of some background on the event itself, in 2020, when they were going to release Doom Eternal, um, King Dime wanted to do an event that sort of showcased that and celebrated the new release of that game. Pretty exciting time. And then, of course, like right in the middle of all of that was COVID. So it made these Take the Crown tournaments something more than I think what they were going to be, which was just kind of a one-off. Like we really had no idea that they would turn into something that we're still doing 6 years later, because we did the original dual tournament, we did the FFA tournament, we've done TDM. I think there was also there was the Horde, the Odomix Horde one. Might have been one other one in there that I can't remember, but it's turned into like, kind of the name that is TTC synonymous with MDF, like just kind of the event that we spend a lot of time and money
Should
on
probably also
running.
also mention that the FFA one actually that happened during the QuakeCon at Home event.
Right.
So we actually got to be a part of that whole event. The finals were streamed as part of the QuakeCon.
Yeah, so really, so right, so Dime's original idea was to create this dual tournament to showcase, uh, like he wanted a good mixture of, what we would consider newer maps along with classic maps. So, I think we did like four new and three classic, and um, great streams. We had a bunch of people streaming, and from that, because in 2020, they did QuakeCon virtually, which they did for like 2 years or three, yeah, 2 years or three. Um, Someone saw that we were doing this, and they from Bethesda, and they came to us and said it would be great to do something, right? Just do something for the QuakeCon at home, and that's when we came up with the FFA tournament, which ended up being, I think, 77 different players signed up for that, and it was a one-day event um, that I sat in this chair, and I'm sure you did too, for 9 to 10 hours that day, going through all 75 players to get down to. It was like,
I think I
go
think it
ahead.
was final eight, right?
It was final eight, so we did like this huge group uh, stages, and then we got down to like top 20, and then from the top 20 we whittled it down to the top eight. So um, that was a long day, and then we got, which was really cool for us, like an hour long final stream on the Bethesda Twitch page on that Sunday. So really, Take the Crown, the first dual tournament, led to all of this fun stuff. So it's really fun to come back now and do it again. Um, Nexus, who, depending on who you ask, which is probably everybody, would say that he is the top dueler, if not, you know, um, top two dueler in Doom right now. He really was not, like, he just started to come around and play seriously after the first Take the Crown. So he wanted to do one of these, and we it just timing worked out. We've been working with the Rampage guys to do this one, so you can thank Nexus for kind of the kick in the ass to get us to do the second one. But it's been really fun. Like I said at the beginning, we did four qualifiers, one week after the other. It's been a long couple weeks, but we have our top 16. So I know you have some stats. I'll throw one out, and then would love to hear you talk about some of the other ones. 31 unique players signed up. Um, some people signed up for multiple, even if they did qualify. So yeah, things I'm interested in, stats wise, are like how many people from Russia? So I got to know that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say it's probably not surprising that the first one was the one with most participants, which was 21,
Yeah.
and then after that we didn't actually crack 16, so it was 14, 15, and 10.
Hmm.
And yeah, as you probably guessed, yes, Russians were the most commonly represented, uh, uh, but on par with actually the US, both countries at 9.
Wow. Okay.
And the funny thing is that in the finals there will be 5 Russians and 1 American.
That's it. Who is the one American that has qualified? I can't.
That's Tiger.
Oh wow. Okay, right at the last second, Tiger
Yes,
qualified in the last qualifier.
along with the 3 Russians. So actually, it's paid off to play till the last one, because as we probably will go through, that was the one that sort of like had to fill out the bracket with more than 4 qualifiers,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we've had some people drop out. So actually, that means we've lost one of our Chileans and uh,
Frenchman by
one of
trade.
and
I don't know.
also one of our French players.
Yeah,
So we've lost some representation to fill it out with Russians.
we did. Well, the big thing is now to eliminate DEI, so we're following suit with that.
It's going
That
to be
joke.
a Cold War.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, it was kind of unfortunate. I can go through the 16 players that qualified. It should be noted that there were 2 players, Mertz and Doomsday, who had qualified, but for various different reasons, shall we say, they will not be participating in the finals, um, which is unfortunate. I would say especially for Mertz because he did such a good job in all of his matches and was really fun to watch, but you'll see him in many other events should you be paying attention to those. So a really good like newer player that's kind of bursting onto the scene. So uh, yeah, a bummer, but was glad that he was able to participate in his place. Or in his stead, we've had a few other qualifiers, so I'll just go through the list, and then we can maybe just go through like each
How it
individual
unfolded.
qualifier. Say that again.
Yes.
Yeah.
How it unfolded.
Yeah, how it unfolded. So um, I'll just go through really quickly all 16 of them, right? So we've got Amar, Poto, Disparel, Nexus. They were from the first qualifier. In
Oh,
the second,
actually, no. Nexus was from the second qualifier because you skipped
yes.
Doomsday, who was the 4th qualifying player in the first one, but he dropped out.
Okay. Yes, correct. And then from the second qualifier actually was Nexus, Coronox, and Vinny. Mertz placed second in the second qualifier. He dropped out. So then in the third qualifier, we had Ghost Killer, Skull Rush, Dante, and Cypher. Dante and Cypher uh, actually were in the first TTC, and they both placed third and fourth respectfully. Um, so it's cool to see them qualify again for the grand final. And then, as we mentioned, in the fourth qualifier, we decided to go. Uh, will this podcast be available as a record? I don't have like a vinyl pressing facility on hand, but um, maybe someone's prize money Nexus can go towards getting this pressed. So the last qualifier was 6 players, and we have Dragon, Tiger, Killer 007, Doomerzov, Nico the Fug, and what we've decided to say is Vaj. Vaj. Um,
That's right.
yes, that's right. So yeah, pretty good group of players. Um, let's take a look if I can get this up on the screen here. The very first qualifier. So, like you mentioned, the first qualifier was the largest one. 21 unique players signed up for that. So let's see. Let me get this on the screen. Get my face out of here. Ooh, we'll have to. How can we do this better?
Yes.
Yeah, and then I'll zoom in slightly. Okay. So basically, um, our thought process behind every week we would seed who we thought were the top four players, and really, you don't want the top four players to be going up against each other right here in like this part of the bracket, right? So the idea is to spread them out and get it really as close as you can, right? There's no exact science to this, so you kind of just go off of like, what you know about these players and just your gut feeling about them. Some of them were easier than others based on like their performances in the first Take the Crown, and then how frequently they play now. So if I'm not mistaken, which I very often am, the players that we seeded in the first qualifier, Poto. Uh, we had Amar, Disparel, and Dante. So they
Yes.
each, yes, okay. So they each sort of had their own part of the bracket here, and I mean, I think it played out, as well as we could have done it. Like the four players that we seeded are the ones that made it to the winners bracket round four. One step away from um, the semifinals here. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
and
bracket looks sort of bloated out because it's 21
yeah,
players fit into a classic 32 player bracket. So there's a
yes.
lot of buy rounds in the first one, but that's what you get. We made sure that the all the seeded players would get a buy in the first round, basically.
Yeah, basically. And I mean, I thought, for what it's worth, like these games, they played out really well. I mean, some people got some like unfortunate matchups, I would say. Like, I don't know. I would say going up against any of those four players in the first grouping here is like, it's tough for anyone going up against them. But, if you take like Vinny, for instance, who later qualified in week two, like, he was able to grab a game off Poto here, and same with Doomsday, who ended up qualifying. Like he gets a game off Poto, and Disparel got a game off Poto, and so
Meanwhile,
basically,
Amar just crushed
yeah,
Mares, who would place second in the second qualifier. So
yes,
there's
Samar just went crazy through his bracket. Well, oddly enough, until he gets over to Poto. So the way that it works, right, is it's a double elimination bracket. So it's a best of three in the winners bracket. You get knocked down if you lose to the losers bracket, and up until round four, right, like round. Let me make sure. So round five is when you start doing best of three again. So in the losers bracket, it's all best of one. So you get your opportunity in the winners bracket. You get knocked down here to the losers bracket. It's going to be best of one in rounds one, two, three, and four. So you have your opportunity to make your way through, which is exactly what Mertz did here. He won a round against Vosh and then Lady Justice. Fell to Doomsday here, but still had like a bunch of games where you can see how somebody could battle all the way through the losers bracket. Um, and you know, so here in round five is where you start to get to the best of three, the best of threes.
here
Or
is it's actually one round
sorry,
later in the first one
round
because
six. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's the more complex one.
yeah. So the bigger one, right? Sorry. So all the other ones were round five. This was round six. So um, yeah. So once they jumped in here, and you can see we tried to put some of the this of course I
This
picked on
one
this game.
actually
Yeah.
this one actually does proves us wrong, but that's because Dante dropped out.
Yeah.
This is another issue that we had with the first tournament. It sort of dragged on, not just because it was the largest one, but also it was the first one. So a lot of things did not go smoothly at first. We've had to explain the system to players. We had to sort of like uh, the players still weren't used to reporting the results automatically or as fast as possible after their games. So there were delays between games.
Hmm.
And we've also run into an issue where we've had basically not enough servers. That's something you might need to
Yes.
explain why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this tournament is actually, I think, unique in the
Let's say
Doom
global.
worlds. Yeah, we so the idea was that, especially when there's money on the line, right? When you're giving away $1,000, you want to make sure that everyone has an equal, as much as possible, chance to win that money, no matter where you are on the globe. So we came up with this server system where we have servers located around the globe. So the idea was to get a server in the UK, a server in Germany, Dallas, New Jersey. We had Miami servers, and then also Australia, in case anybody from Australia signed up. So really, the idea is that you're going to pick the server between two opponents that's going to best, be the one that is fairest for both. So if you got somebody who's in, like me, like Western US, and then you have somebody who's in Russia, well, we'd probably, end up playing either on New Jersey or UK, and our pings and our connections would be, fairly similar. That's the best we could do. So it created a lot of interesting situations, and especially with the matchups being random, where it felt like every week there was a different server that was like experiencing a log jam. So in week one, it was New Jersey. Almost every game was on New Jersey, and we only had like three servers up. So that created an issue where we were just waiting for certain games to finish. And um, but we bounced back from that, I think, in the later qualifiers by adding a few more servers and um, getting lucky on the matchup um, dice
Right.
rolls, I
So
guess. Yeah.
so if we go back to that loser bracket game between Dante and Doomsday, that basically was the cause of those delays stacking up because this tournament started. It started. It was 8 my time, 8 p.m., and
Hmm.
I'm Central European. So for Russians, that was actually 9 p.m. So by the time they got to this stage, it was well past midnight for Dante,
Yes.
and yes, he had to sadly drop out during
Yes.
during this game, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, we tried to be, like I said, we tried to pick up the pace and for the qualifiers. And I mean, I think it's working out. But I think, the important thing to really like highlight here is I've never seen another duel, like another Doom tournament, period, that does it like this. Like normally, if you run a league or you run a tournament or something, it's like, hey, here's the servers you're going to play on. I don't care if you're on the International Space Station. This is where you're playing, and whatever your ping is what your ping is. So it's been important, I think, for us to maintain that fairness. And thankfully, everyone's been a really good sport about it. And I think players just want to play, and they want to play for something that's meaningful. So anyway, before I get off on a rant like that, the first qualifier was long. It's about 7 hours long, but the payoff was if we go up here to the winners bracket, right? So like I said, those first uh, four players that we seeded are the ones that made it here, almost to the end of the winners bracket. Poto took 2 games to 1 over Disparel, and you know what? Before we get into that, actually, I'm realizing now we haven't really discussed the maps either. Um, the maps have been interesting. Um, like I mentioned in the first one, we really wanted to showcase some of the newer maps, and that was a directive that King Dime gave to me again this time. Was like, you know, go ahead and I'm down to help support this, but make sure that you're showcasing newer maps. So uh, I did 4 new maps and 3 classic maps. The map list, and then would love to hear you talk about them. BSP Epi, Dwango 5 map 1, of course, Judas 23, map 23, Lazarus map 4, Mututhi, Pyrrhic map 1, and Ouroboros. Say that 10 times fast. So I don't know. I think it's been an interesting grouping of maps. Like there were maps here when I first announced the maps, I had people go, "Oh, no one's going to play this or no one's going to play that," and then it turns out that a lot of people are banning the classic maps, and actually they're playing the newer maps. Um, I don't know. What have you seen? What are your thoughts on this map
Well, I
list?
would say the newer picks were basically we were trying to on the total keep sort of a variety of pace. So you keep smaller, faster maps. Keep larger maps. Something is more strategic. Something is pure SSG fest. Basically, uh, like an eclectic selection, and you just pick your favorites, or you ban your poison. So, uh, in that regard, I think it succeeded because whatever we basically bumped off the old selection found its correct replacement, and we saw that the players sort of agreed because uh, they were all over the place. No one was like mm, allowed to stay with just their uh, like stubborn selection,
Right.
and uh, sometimes we've seen some interesting strategizing, which uh, which was which was demonstrated in a lot of banning of Judas and Mango 5 map 1, the most classic of the entire
Yes.
selection. And I would say Judas was actually the most banned one. And that's because a lot of people were sort of like afraid to play what they thought like the super strong players. They are like they know those maps, those classic maps. So I'm gonna ban it and I'm gonna take my chances on the newer ones, which to a large degree actually worked.
Yeah, and I think like I'm gonna mess with this where we can get the comments on here in a good spot, but um, I think so. The creator of um, Lazarus thinks so. Lazarus is actually one of the newer maps that I picked. I didn't count it as a classic one. D5M1, Judas, and Mu2D I count as classic. So Lazarus is still sort of in that like newer map thing, but obviously it still feels
Though
new to me. But
Lazarus actually probably is only slightly older than Mu2D if you think about it.
I mean,
But it has the
in
new school feel.
2026, yes, it is new. It is closer to when Mu2D was created than where we are now. But also, like I was just reading something the other day that the Beatles' first album is closer to the year 1899 than it is now. So, like, whatever. But it is newer than Mu2D, so it
We
is
actually had
a newer
the
map.
discussion that Judas is actually older than some of the players participating.
Oh,
Like they
it
were
is.
born after Judas was made.
Lazarus is older than some of the players who are playing right now, which uh, couldn't be me. Yeah, so I think it's been a really good selection of maps. I've enjoyed watching the players. Like, I'll use Dragon as an example because he likes when I do that. But he was saying in voice chat yesterday, he was like, oh, "Okay, BSP Epi is not that bad of a map," and then he started playing a game, and he was like, "Nope, nope, I take it back. I take it back. I hate this map. This map." So it's like I've enjoyed watching the players either like hate a map at first and then they end up picking it and having to play it, or the exact opposite. Like they're like, "Oh, this map's not too bad," and then they start hating it. So it's all personal preference, but
Right.
created some good games.
BSP Epi, I definitely expected some people to hate because for me, that's like the map one replacement. And I mean Doom 2 map one replacement.
Yeah,
It has a very specific balance or dynamic where one player, the top player in this highly vertical map, is the one with the advantage, you could say,
Hmm.
on the BFG side and everything. So uh, I did expect that some people would really hate it.
Yeah.
Uh, but some people almost like exploited it because you can only ban so many maps. So then you, wow,
I'm
that's a
trying. All right. I'm sorry. I don't want to see myself that close. So
so
I'll close this for
that
now.
was the one where a lot of players tried to like pull a fast one on their opponent. Like
Hmm.
that's a map where a lot of players don't have an established like style or haven't been grinding it for years, and it is highly tactical. So
Yes.
we've seen a lot of improvisation on that map.
Yeah, we have. And I've enjoyed too um, Pyrrhic, which I still can't spell. I still have to look at the spelling every week. But that was a WOD that I know that you championed a lot. And we had Pyrrhic map 10 in the first Take the Crown, and I thought it was great. But I didn't want to. The only map I reused from the first one was Mu 2D, and I did that purposefully because um, actually Toke passed away like 20 years ago this year, so I thought it would be a nice thing to do.
Mhm.
And also, I mean, it's a good map. Like if the map sucked, be like, sorry, dude. But yeah, it's a good map. But I didn't want to reuse the same Pyrrhic map. But map one has been great to watch. I've enjoyed
Mhm.
like some of the play that's been around. I mean, not only the BFG, but just that upper area that players run up. It's been fun to watch them kind of like figure the map out over the last 4 weeks. Because I mean, I think that's part of like what the qualifiers do for you too. Is you get an opportunity to learn these maps, and hopefully you qualify, and then if you do, hopefully you've spent enough time playing that by the time you're ready to play in the grand final, now you have a strategy.
I guess the Pyrrhic map was, if you can like approximate it to something else, it would be something straight between Mu2D and something like Pobla.
Mm,
So because it's fairly open, but with a lot more SG.
yeah.
And I at first I was thinking maybe it's more like Judas, but no, it's way slower than Judas. It's more hits canny, and it has that one pretty effective, let's say, defensive spot that you won't find on Judas, that some people really took to liking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if when you mentioned that Mutudi is by Toke, well, Pyrrhic is a map set by Hobomaster, developer on Odemax, and Hellion,
Hmm.
also an accomplished mapper. And BSP Epi, that's actually mapped by Brad Spencer, also known as Vorpal, who you may know as a Alien Vendetta mapper. So an old schooler, and he took a map from Michal Mashko, who made a map for what's it? I forgot the name. The really pretty map set that is completely unplayable. Crucified Dreams, of
Crucified
course.
Dreams. Yes. Okay. It's like
So that's a map from Crucified
yeah.
Dreams that's been completely edited and made usable.
We could get into a whole discussion about Crucified Dreams, but yeah, I'm glad that a map survived the just overloaded, bloated version of Crucified Dreams, and has survived, and was actively put into a dual compilation WAD. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's been a good group of maps. Like I was on the fence about some of them, but at some point you just got to roll with it, and they've
I
produced
was
some
on
really
the
good
fence
games.
about Euroburos,
Hmm.
which is an oddball, and in pace it's sort of similar to Dwango. If you play like you can play it like Dwango, you can hide, run away, never go to the center, which
Yeah.
I expected a lot of players to do, but almost no one did. Almost everyone just sort of battled it out in the center.
Yeah,
So
it's
it
such a
it's
weird
sort of
strategy to
like
me.
fit its own role.
Yeah. I mean, I think actually in the most recent qualifier, we saw a little bit more of that like Dwango gameplay where they're in the back hallways, but it took a couple weeks for players to be like, "Oh yeah, I don't have to just barrel out, into the middle and like get killed every single time. Like I can make this game last longer than 5 minutes." So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the grand final. But yeah, returning back to the first qualifier, let's see if I can get the screen somewhat. I don't want to highlight me. Okay, there we go. Um,
So yeah,
so
the winner bracket mostly went as we expected.
yes.
The top seeds arrived into the semifinals exactly as expected.
Hmm.
And it was actually quite a battle in both of the semifinals, which
It
was pretty
was.
cool to see. Like neither of them was a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this, like, it went 3 games, and the first one, Poto won by 14, and that was BSP Epi.
Which
And
is
then these
Poto's
two games,
favorite map.
yes, that is Poto's favorite map. It fits his playstyle very well. These two maps, extremely close. And
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like at least in these games, I remember thinking Disparal could have, gotten Poto on some of those, especially on Lazarus, the last few. But yeah, it just goes to show like really, really great games from them here. And then if we take a look at Amar and Dante, so Dwango 5 map 1, as we suspected, we have a 20-minute time limit just to sort of keep things moving, and this game hit that time limit, so nobody got 50 frags. Dante ended up with 42 and Amar had 34. So um, and then you can see sort of Amar's dominance on Lazarus, basically doubling his
Right.
frags, and BSP Epi, much
It went
closer.
it went right back to
Yeah.
being a close strategic game because that's a strong Dante map,
Mhm.
and yeah, Amar had to work for his victory there.
Yeah, but it just goes to show, like, when you ban and pick maps against certain players, like there is a strategy behind that. So, you don't necessarily, I don't want to say it out, but you like the, well, it's not a surprise really. You don't want to pick necessarily Judas against like a Nexus, say. Like if you have to, I guess you have to, but it wouldn't be my first choice. So maybe not picking, certain maps against Amar or Dante, that's something to look at. But so, you know, Poto and Amar go up against each other here, and Poto takes it in 2 games, and they were close, especially Judas. Judas was really close. And then Pyrrhic, Poto just pulled away there at the end of that one. Um, so Poto, at this point, Poto and Amar had both qualified for the grand final, but Disparal, Amar, and Dante get dropped down to the losers bracket, and they get dropped down in pretty great, spots here. We mentioned Dante had to leave, so that pushed Doomsday through, and so at this point, round 7 is where you end up qualifying. These two players here qualify for the grand final. So it was Doomsday versus Disparal, and Disparal was able to take this one. These were close games, relatively, especially the Lazarus one. But Disparal comes out of that one with a victory and goes up against Amar to determine who's going to go back up to the winners bracket to play Poto. Ouroboros not so close, Mutudi closer, but Amar kind of avenges that, gets
At this
up to the
point,
winners
Amar
bracket.
just at this point Amar got into some insane groove or whatever
Yes.
possessed him, because after he trashed Disparel, he went back to like play the grand final against Poto, and we should now explain that we're not playing full double elimination. We play shortened grand final because in full double elimination, if Amar wins against Poto, they get to play another BO5
Hmm.
series, uh, because that's basically Poto's first loss. So he sort of like drops down to loser bracket as the final player, and immediately goes to play against Amar once again. This would add another hour to the stream or to the tournament.
Yes.
We really don't want to inflict that even on the finalists. So what we've decided, since we're playing the grand final as a BO5 as opposed to everything else being BO3, we play the BO5 with the winner bracket player with 1-0 advantage. So basically, you can see game one, 0-0, but that counts as Poto's win, and they continue from there. So Poto only has to win 2 maps. Amar has to win 3 maps.
Yep.
That's supposed to heavily favor the winner bracket player, but look, just look what happened here. It's been quite a comeback from Amar, and uh, I mean the Lazarus game was really close, but he definitely just kicked into a higher gear.
Yep.
And basically, apart from the BSP Epi, which is home field for Poto, he did not give him that much chance, and
No, he
basically
didn't.
finished the comeback even with 1 map. No, not actually 1 map to spare. It was 2-3. Yeah,
Yeah, they played as many maps as they could have
yeah,
played to
the full
determine
map
the
set,
winner.
right?
And it was funny because Amar, I think, went out. I don't know, who knows, like maybe shopping or whatever. Like just left the house for like 30 minutes, in between like the end of after he beat Disparel or something like that. And then it was like, oh, Poto, are you okay waiting? Like, so now we're into like hour 7, and Poto's like, yeah, sure, I'll wait. So who knows, like, you know, if that had any effect on it, but Amar definitely, like
Oh
you said,
yeah,
kicked it into
you
another
could
gear
you could
here.
say he was on a hot streak while Poto got cold fingers, I guess.
True. Well, I mean, so Amar takes it 3 games to 2 and is now seated first, from his qualifier. So it was Amar, Poto, Disparel, and Doomsday, who's not going to be playing, but really fun first qualifier. I thought, to have 21 people sign up to play, it was pretty exciting. So jumping ahead now, let's see if I can do this right. Let's replace this with the qualifier 2. Qualifier 2 is slightly less players, but you said it was 14 players, I
Yes,
believe?
it was 14
Okay.
players.
Yeah, so in this one, the story here, I think, is that Nexus didn't lose a single round, and you can see as he bullied his way through, all the way through.
And
But
it was never close. I
yes,
mean,
not close at all. But you can see also, here's a good example of what we decided to allow after the first qualifier, which is Doomsday had already qualified for the grand final, but his seeding was
fourth. He
fourth.
ended fourth in the first one, so technically the worst position, the weakest seed, or whatever we
Yes,
want to.
we decided to allow players, if you were qualified as a seed 2 through 4, to sign up again in a subsequent qualifier to improve your seeding spot. So Doomsday did that, but what happened is, so here he plays Azrael, and then he plays Mertz. So he loses to Mertz. He doesn't drop down to the losers
Yes,
bracket. He just gets taken out because we don't want him to take a spot from someone else who's going to be qualifying. So what it ended up being was this match actually here between Skullrush and Coronox became a qualifying match, and Coronox took that one. So yeah, I don't think anybody besides Doomsday really took advantage of that re-signing up, did they? Disparel thought
Uh,
about it, but I don't think anyone else signed up
no,
again.
I
No.
think you're right. No one
Yeah.
actually did it,
Yeah. Would have
which
been
is ironic
interesting.
because Doomsday failed his chance to improve. Uh, the elimination in the loser bracket worked as we wanted because he would be possibly bumping out other players
Yes.
uselessly.
And
But
then he raged out and quit and took his
yes,
servers
but
away.
ironically, after that, he completely quit the tournament and gave up even his qualifying first tournament spot.
Yes.
Oh well.
My response to that was, if you want to give up your opportunity to win money, okay. I don't know what to say.
Oh,
Um,
he also took his servers and went home. So
yes. I
he
wasn't sure
shut
whether that
down.
was Doomsday or No Star that I was talking to in that moment, but yes, people get reincarnated in the Doom community all the time. So anyway, yes, like I said, the story here is Nexus. Mertz did very well in the winners bracket. He beat Xwiz. He also beat Dante. I thought this was a really good matchup. Um, some good games here. Ouroboros, BSP Epi, and Pyrrhic. Like not super close, but not they weren't blowouts or anything. So basically, they were just trading off on the maps that they were good at. And like I said earlier, Dante came in third in the first Take the Crown. So he is an established, um, really smart, good dueler. So for Mertz to take him out, big accomplishment there, and goes up against Nexus. So Nexus, same score, both maps. Nexus is just very, very strong. So Nexus takes him out in 2 games, and Mertz drops down here to the losers bracket, and doesn't have to. He basically qualifies when he goes up against Nexus first, and then waits out the rest of the losers bracket. So we had a bunch of people here who were fighting for spots that came super close in this one. Dante came very close. Skull Rush came very close. Um, even Asriel and gosh, Bunghole needs to change his name, but that is he is a very strong player as well who signed up for a bunch of qualifiers. But yeah, the loser bracket was just riddled with people who were this close, like so close to qualifying. Um, but
If anything, we were basically sort of surprised that Cornox was able to take out Skull Rush, and
yes.
then Vinny sort of just bumped out Dante, which was less expected. Uh, and I mean, Dante then said that he was really nervous and sort of like fumbled his
Mm.
chance. But yeah, Vinny definitely deserved it
Oh,
for.
100%. I mean, Vinny earned his spot for sure. I mean, not an easy task to beat Dante.
Oh, show the third game. Actually, can no, wait. Which one was it? One game was decided by a single frag.
Uh,
Which one was
in
it?
this matchup or a different matchup?
It might have been a different tournament, and I'm confusing it. Sorry.
We'll come across it, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Maybe this one. Let's see. Now, but like you can see all these as we're just poking really quickly at them, like all very close games. These guys were training a lot. So Vinny and Dante had close games. Coronox and Vinny had close games. So Coronox and Vinny played Pyrrhic and Ouroboros, and same score here. So I think these matchups are everything about the player, or as I should say, as much about the player as they are the maps that you're playing that player against. And I think Qualifier 2 is still very early, so they were seeing like I know Xwiz was joking a little bit about like certain players being overly nice about the map picks that they have, like, oh, this person wants to play this map, so I'll play this map against them, and it's like, okay, you're qualifying to win money. This is like a serious tournament. You're a nice guy, but like put on that villain hat for a second and just play the map that the person's not good at. um
Yeah, you don't need to throw basically an easy loss, easy, like, give your
Yes.
opponent their home field, play them at their strongest. You don't need to do that.
Right. Right. So yeah, and then we come back around. So Mertz played Nexus here, gets dropped down to the losers bracket, beats Coronox in two pretty close games here on Lazarus and Ouroboros, and then goes back up to face Nexus, who just like Poto in the first qualifier, comes into it with a three um, a one round advantage. So he plays Mertz on Judas. That one's really not close, but Judas and Nexus are sort of synonymous as well at this point. And then BSP Epi was slightly closer. But Nexus walks away as the number one seed in this qualifier without ever losing a round. So certainly doesn't need to put his name on the map any more than it's already on the map. But there it is. Nexus walks away and coming out as the number one seed. And then qualifier.
Unluckily, then what happened was that Mertz also gave up his
Yes.
qualifying spot. In his case, that was, he had some other activity going on
Yeah, I think he
basically
bought
next week.
like
Yeah,
One Direction concert tickets or Miley Cyrus or something like that. He's going to be busy somewhere, seeing Hannah Montana somewhere in France
Miley Cyrus.
during
Now,
the.
now you've aged yourself if you think that's for kids. Isn't she like gritty since 20 years ago?
Hey, we're the same age. I'm the same age as her, so uh, it was for kids when I was a kid. Damn it. But yes, unfortunately, Mertz will not be able to play in the grand final. But like I mentioned earlier, it was just cool to see him play in some games here. Qualifier 3, I think you said had 15 players.
Right. That's right.
So let's see. Do we have the screen up now? The correct screen? There we go. So again, we seeded these players, and actually, because it worked out well that because it was 15 players, we only had to put one bye person in there, and basically just the top seed got the bye. So that was Dante. Um, so this one was super interesting because Dante was the top seeded player, managed to beat Ty here, and Ty's been around a long time, so I think Ty probably needed to practice a little bit more, but like Dante, beat Ty here and then goes up against Skull Rush, who was coming off like two good games against Igara and Rude as well, especially this Lazarus game. This Lazarus game with Skullrush and Rude, like it was going back and forth, and I think Rude had a lead for most of it up until like they both hit 40 frags, and then Rude just kind of like he just lost it at the end there. But Skullrush had battled back to win that, and then he goes up against Dante, and
Yeah. And
again on Lazarus, like I, I don't know if it was me playing in this tournament, right? If I see that Skullrush if I'm going up against Skullrush and I see that his last game was like a comeback win on Lazarus, I wouldn't be playing him on Lazarus. I just wouldn't do it. Not right away,
I
but there
just
you go.
thought that maybe School Rush was a bad pairing for Dante.
Hmm.
Especially, we could see that on Ouroboros, where uh, like Dante sort of like undone himself and just started playing less of his usual strategic style and just started walking into Skull Rush's traps and just more advantageous positions, and it just went away from him. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't particularly close.
yeah, I agree. Um, but so that just means that Skullrush made his way into the winners bracket semifinal, which meant that he qualified. And then on the other side of the bracket, we had Cypher Uh,
That was his first tournament, by the way. Yeah, he just
yeah, he just, Cypher came in fourth
appeared.
in the first Take the Crown, and then just decided. I was like, I was begging him to play. Well, not really, but I was bugging him mostly to sign up, and he ignored one and two, and then just was like, "Hey, I'm here for three," and jumps in, plays some really good matches against Azriel,
And then that
meets Ghost
meets
Killer.
Ghost Killer, and it's not pretty. Like you could tell that Cypher is
Yes,
not in 100% shape, and he's like the among the Russians, he's sort of the Twitch player. Prefers the faster, more direct maps, but that's what Ghost Killer prefers also.
yes,
And it was a blowout.
yeah. That was not a good game for him on Judas, but Judas is very unforgiving if you're trying to jump into it. Maybe you were good at it at one point, but if you're trying to play Judas after you haven't played for a while, and you go up against somebody that's you know, like actively practicing and really trying, it's probably not going to go well for you. So that's what happened here. And I mean, I don't know if I lost 50 to 17 on Judas, if I go to Lazarus, even if I'm good at it, I don't think I'd be able to pretend that that first round didn't happen. So but all credit goes to Ghost Killer, taking out Cypher and punching his ticket to a matchup with Skull Rush.
The Brazil bubble.
Yes, and these matches I thought were great because they end up playing each other twice. Um, the Lazarus game again, super close here. Judas, like I know both of these guys love Judas, so Judas was just a battle. 50 to 42 is on Judas. It's a little bit like 50 to like 48. Like it's very close. Those 10 frags are probably just like one or two spawn frags, like difference between like a momentum shift happening. So it was quite close, I would say.
Most of the match was quite close.
Yeah,
Then it sort of went Ghost Killer's way.
yeah. So but like these two players, they're both qualified now. So Skolarish gets dropped down to the losers bracket, and he just waits. And this one I thought was the most exciting losers bracket actually because
Hmm.
it showed like a bunch of people going multiple rounds to advance. Like okay, so Ty gets dropped down here, and then he has this game against Azriel, which is very close on Ouroboros, and then he goes up against Rude and has another close game on Judas against Rude. So this one was back and forth. Like Rude took maybe like a 5 or 6 frag lead and led for a bit, and then Ty comes back, and I think Ty was like
He had a massive final comeback. Like he was
he did,
actually down in the early 40s, and then he just sort of took over.
yeah. And I think also like he had said previously that he wasn't going to be available to play in qualifier number 4, so it almost felt like there was a different Ty that we saw in the losers bracket than we saw. Like it was almost like he realized like, oh shit, I better qualify for this, or I'm not going to be able to play in the grand final. So he came back against Rude, and then because of the number of players in the losers bracket round 4, that's where we have the best of 3. So he goes up against Cypher, of course, which like man, what a if you have to qualify, like this is a tough matchup to go up against. So goes up against Cypher. Cypher takes Mutu D. Ty takes Judas, and then I think D5M1, if I'm not mistaken, was quite close for maybe like the first 30 to
Half
35. Yeah,
first half was pretty close.
yeah. And then Cypher pulled away
Hmm.
and basically just killed Ty's chances of qualifying, which, like, what a great matchup in the losers bracket. Like, it's not a knock on anybody, right? But typically, you get better matches in the winners bracket, I would say, than the losers one. But this one really, proved that, I guess, theory wrong. This was a great matchup, and it was a qualifying matchup. So they played their asses off. I
Well,
would have
the
been sad no matter who didn't qualify.
right, and the other branch of the loser bracket also had a one like hero who battled almost all the way, which was bunghole.
Yes.
And basically, like, you can see he went through some players who later qualified in qualifier 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Tiger, Killer. Yep.
yes. So
And then he got
he
into this matchup against Dante.
yes, and then Dante, Dante was not letting the qualification get away from him on his third try. So that was unfortunate for Bunghole, because were he against maybe Cypher, it would look very different probably.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's sort of like foreshadowing. You say unfortunate for him. We'll talk about what's more unfortunate for him in qualifier number 4. But yeah, and there's another guy who's like he came so damn close to qualifying. Really played like for somebody that I believe is a Z Damon player. Doesn't really come around and play Zandronum. Doesn't play Odomex. Like just decided to jump in and one really shows that there is like a dual scene alive somewhere hidden there, and just there is some transferable skills from port to port. So it was just really cool to see him battle through. Came up a little bit short here, but that means that we had the battle for Mother Russia here in round 5
Mm.
between Dante and Cypher, which was a really fun matchup because these guys know each other very well. So I mean, look at this Judas game. The Judas game was crazy. That was just back and forth the entire time.
Yeah,
Um,
we when we were watching the game, we were commentating that it was far less strategic than you would expect. They were basically playing Rock'em Sock'em,
yes,
just
yeah,
going at each other
trading
with
punches.
very little thought put into it.
Yeah, yeah. But it was really fun to watch because it was just very like it's not the type of gameplay that you see very often these days. So you can tell these guys have been playing Doom for a long time. They were just bashing each other over the head, and then
And at this point, they were both qualified, so
yeah,
whatever, it works.
yes, and then they were going into Lazarus. So basically, they split the next two maps. So they go into Lazarus. So after Cypher takes Judas, Dante takes Lazarus, and then it's BSP Epi, which is like, um, yeah, I thought that one was super interesting. Like, it's definitely a Dante map. Like, it's
Hmm.
the modern day replacement for D5M1. So he played really well there and punched his own ticket into a matchup against Skull Rush, which was a great match as well. So Judas, I know Skull Rush loves Judas. If he could just play Judas every round, like if we somehow made a rule that was like, okay, every game that you play Skull Rush, you just play Judas, he would do it in a second. Um, so he's really good at Judas. He does this great match against Dante, and then look at these last two matches.
There goes
Uh,
the 50-49.
right, Ouroboros, so damn close. That was like I wasn't sure who was going to win that one.
Yeah, down to final shot. That was could
There
have
was
gone
some
either way.
whiffing. There was some whiffing there by both of them. So it was basically like whoever is going to get that, whoever is going to stop whiffing is going to win this game. And Dante managed to walk away with that one. And then Pyrrhic was just as close, really. Really exciting game.
I was definitely surprised that Dante gave Skullrush a chance to play Judas.
I
I would
think that's the one
probably.
opportunity where not being around in the community so much kind of bit him in the ass because I don't think he realized that
Mhm.
Skull Rush is one, loves Judas, plays it religiously, but two is also really good at it. So I just don't think he realized that. I'm sure he does now. Yeah. So good games there, but that ends Dante's run, and then Skull Rush goes back into another matchup with Ghost Killer, and Ghost Killer walks in with a 1 round advantage, and again, really close games here. Like you know, things could have gone either way, but I really enjoyed their Pyrrhic match actually because that was a bit different. That was a very strategic match. I felt
Mhm.
Ouroboros was more of your, to steal your term, the Rock'em Sock'em game. Pyrrhic was like they were both sort of hiding up the steps at that top area a little bit. They were hiding. in the hallways. They were, hiding in the little corners, like near the teleporter. So it was a lot of like cat and mouse going on here in that game, and Ghost Killer walked away with it.
Yeah, he definitely converted his uh well, when he had the map advantage, like we when he had the position advantage, he definitely converted frags better. Just sort of like probably had Sculler's number at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Once you're on a roll, sometimes there's no stopping you. So that was qualifier 3. We had Ghost Killer, Skull Rush, Dante, and Cypher. And it was after qualifier 3 that we found out that Mertz would not. So we had already found out that Doomsday was not going to be playing. And then Mertz dropped out, sadly. So that meant that qualifier 4 was going to be the top 6 players qualifying, which is rather unusual, but at the same time, is what it is, and it gave players an opportunity to sign up. Only 12 people signed up, but only 10 or 11 ended up playing.
10 ended up
10,
playing.
10 ended up playing. So, okay, we're on qualifier 4 now. Some first-time signups, actually. Dragon decided to sign up out of nowhere for the 4th qualifier.
And you could
And
tell that basically some people who went pretty far in the previous ones
mhm,
had their chance if they returned for the fourth one. So
yes,
missing out on the fourth one probably cost some people their chance to squeeze in.
totally.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is, and qualifying
This
is
one,
half the battle.
this one, it was like it rewarded loyalty.
It did, because we had here, I believe Tiger signed up for all 4. Um, Doomerzov, I think, signed up for all 4, if not at least
Oh, for
3.
yeah.
Vosh signed up for 3 of them. Bunghole signed up for all of them. Mordecai Dude signed up for like 3 of them. So we just saw a ton of people that had signed up before that just kept signing up. So yeah, it was fun to watch, because it was a bit more of like I don't know, it was a bit more tame than some of the other ones, like a bit slower, but the games were good. So we had Neko Ranger and Vosh play, so that
Yeah,
got
you can see there was a lot of Russians in this one.
yes,
There's
this was Russia week, you know. Um,
because
it
that's
was
Neko Ranger and Bosch are both Russian.
yes,
Dumersov and Nico also both Russians. Then you have Birdie Butts also Russian, and Mordecai also Russian. So
yeah.
that's well, it's more than 50% of the lineup.
But what I liked about this qualifier that I felt like was more prevalent than the other ones were three three map matches. So Doomerzov and Nico go to 3, Killer and Bunghole go to 3 here, Tiger and Killer go to 3. Um, yeah, I thought the matchups were really good in this one. So Dragon gets his way through all the way to the winners bracket here, winners bracket semifinals. This match between Tiger and Killer was every other server, so they would play.
Oh, we should probably mention before that the
Mhm.
basically Killer and Bunghole, that was sadly like in the third round, Bunghole's internet gave up and gave out, and basically
Right.
after during the tiebreak, we had to basically forfeit his game because yeah, he was not getting his internet back in time, and we
Yeah.
definitely needed to proceed with the tournament, especially with so many Russians again having to stay up late.
Yeah. Yeah. Very unfortunate, because, like I said,
It looked like
he did
he had
so
a
well.
chance. I mean, once his trouble started, he he was behind in the tiebreakers. That one was forfeited during the tiebreaker, and he was already well behind. But he he was lagging out. He was definitely suffering from bad connection at that point. So who knows? Who knows? And he had a pretty strong chance to make it through the loser bracket.
He did. Yeah, it was really unfortunate. But you can only wait so long for someone,
Right.
unfortunately. So yeah, we did drop him down to the losers bracket, gave him an extra like 20 minutes, to figure it out. But then we had to be moving on. So, super unfortunate for him. Really good player. Hopefully he sticks around and continues to, practice and play. He said he would be around for next week, so that'll be good to have him around watching the games. But that just means that Killer, went on to play Tiger, and this ended up being a good matchup. Because of their locations, they split uh, servers, so they go back and forth between New Jersey and UK. So actually, I'll correct myself. In this game, Tiger just decided to go play UK before I could say anything, and they both agreed to it. So I didn't, rock the boat or anything. But he takes this one, like he loses on Judas, which, losing on Judas when you're playing from across the pond is not the craziest thing in the world. But then really close game on D5M1, like I didn't know who was going to take that one, and it was just a last second like frag from Tiger, kind of surprising. Um, and then he walks away. Lazarus was close for a bit, and
Yeah,
then
which makes it funny
yeah,
because he was like a hair's breadth away from getting eliminated
yes,
or dropped down, and then he takes the decider relatively with ease.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And he's this is now, mind you, the fourth qualifier that Tiger has signed up for. So his last opportunity, he's tried 3 times in a row, uh, and he's been practicing a lot. So I
Mm.
mean, if you want my vote for like most improved player or most practiced player over the last month, it's been Tiger. He's been really battling to get in. So I mean, happy for him that he got to jump up and play Dragon there. Um, and so that bumps Killer down here, but just because of the nature of the 6 qualifiers, basically, Killer got eliminated from the winners bracket and then qualified here,
Right.
which is like, hey, what this was essentially like pretty much anyone that made it to these 2 matches
Yeah.
here qualified uh, a round earlier than usual. So
Yeah, basically, this one was you were fighting for qualifying in loser bracket round three in a best of one.
yes,
If you made it through that, you were in,
yep,
which a little bit unfortunate, but yeah, that's how it works sometimes.
that's how it
So it was
works.
actually that was a big Russian battle between
Yeah.
Nico and Neko Ranger,
Hmm.
and between Voj and Mordecai. So that was four Russians battling for remaining two spots,
Yep.
and it was Nico and Voj who took it.
Hmm. Nico and Vosh took it, and they came up to play Dumerzov and Killer. So we're still in. Actually, we're in best of 3 category here. So Killer took these two fairly easily against Nico, and
This is
then
where Killer started like really
turning it
ramping
on.
up his
Yeah,
turning on.
yeah. No, these were really great games from Killer, especially that Mu2D game. It was almost like a
Mm.
different player than we had seen before as well. Like he really just played such a great game here. And then Dumerzov and Vosh had some good games as well on Judas and BSP Epi. And so that basically took them over into round 5, which was Killer versus Dumerzov. And again, Killer plays Mu2D and does really well. Like I thought, wow, like okay, Mu2D is Killer's map, right? Like he just did
Hmm.
such a great job there.
It looked like he definitely was outperforming the Russian guys he was running
Yes.
into, specifically on Moon 2D.
Hmm. Yeah, specifically Mu2D, just doing really well. So that got him all the way to the losers bracket final against Tiger. In this matchup, so it's a rematch from earlier.
Yes.
This one they split the servers, so it started with actually I believe the first one was New Jersey, which Killer won, and then the second one
Yeah.
was UK, which Tiger
We
won.
were. It was really interesting because basically, uh, Tiger was the one who picked first, who played
Yes,
on his home field, and he chose BSP Epi, and he lost. At that
yes,
point, I had little faith in him because, I mean, that game was crazy. Like, Tiger did not look like he knew what he was doing. He was sort of like fumbling around, like he was playing the map for the first time, sort of bumping into random stuff, completely changing his tactics, uh, in the next 10 frags or whatever.
yeah,
And yeah, Killer eventually walked away with that one. So I was like, if he lost, like, what? First of all, why did he choose that map if he's not that good with it? Second, now he's lost his home field and he's going to play Mu 2D
right.
at a ping disadvantage in UK. So I thought Killer was going to walk away with it, but then we saw a completely different Tiger, and like Killer wasn't playing bad at all. The Killer was like trying to keep up, but at moments Tiger was completely dominating him, and then Killer had to claw his way back, and then Tiger again got like a really insane spree, and it was like Tiger suddenly played so much better. Like, he definitely, you could see the more skilled movement where he timed how far he could get from his position before shooting, timing the SSG really well. He definitely was the better player in that match, even though the result is close.
Yes, yes, and then we get down to Ouroboros, and seemingly Tiger is just on a roll here. I felt like actually this might be Tiger's best map. I
Hmm.
really I think he confused Killer on a lot of different things. He played the back hallways really well. He came out into the middle only when he had a good opportunity to do so, and um, was able to take advantage of a lot of the spawn fragging that was given to him. Not given to him, but presented itself in the game to him.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he was just on it. Like his aim was really like top notch to do what he needed to do in that one. So yeah, I was very surprised based only on like the home field server selection thing. Like to lose your first one and then win on your opponent's server. I mean, I guess luckily for him, it came back to New Jersey, right? But who
Hmm.
knows? So yeah, really good showing from Tiger there to get his way into the winner bracket final against Dragon. And this was a game for sure because Dragon walks in with a one game
Again,
advantage.
I had little faith in Tiger because
Yes.
he was
Yeah.
at one map disadvantage, and I thought, especially because again they started with BSP Epi, and the way I saw him play in the previous one,
Hmm.
I thought uh, he would not get it. But I guess even that was enough against Dragon, who really really hates the map.
Yes, as I mentioned, Dragon does not like BSPFE, and he sometimes lets those things affect how he plays.
And
Um,
that playing that as the first map, ooh, it felt like it tilted him. Like
a little
he's
bit.
just getting really pissed off on the first map. I don't know if it helps him or not, but I would say not. I would say that it made things way more complicated for him than maybe if he just eliminated BSP Epi.
Right, right. So it was interesting because now his one game advantage is, technically lost. And then we
Yeah.
jump into Judas, and this
Oh,
was
but
another.
there was a mad dragon who never gave
Yes.
Tiger a chance. Like it was for most of the game, the difference in frags was even higher,
Hmm.
and just at the end, Tiger sort of like uh, made it look less embarrassing. But that was completely dominated by Dragon for
Yes,
most
that
of the time.
that was a pissed off dragon, uh,
Absolutely.
taking
I
it out on somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, but then this D5M1 game, um, this was
That
great.
went that went really unexpected, and we
Yeah.
were like, for some moments we were shouting at both the players in our commentating, like, what are you doing, why did you choose that, like, but of course that's you know uh bench seats
Right.
coaching, that's
Yeah, because there were a ton of times that I felt like they were just both of them were doing things I wouldn't do, but like Tiger was jumping down like directly into where drag like he was super aggressive and
yes, he was way too aggressive, but at points it looked like it upset Dragon. It made him sort of expect something else
Mhm.
and not that sort of aggression.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't expecting it. And it made it a really close match because I remember specifically we were yelling at one point like Tiger, you need to like slow it down, and then all of a sudden Tiger slowed it down. Like he started using the back hallways more,
Right.
and he was
Because
trying to
from
drag Dragon out.
most of the game, Dragon was like +3, actually.
Yeah.
And that then past 35 frags or something closer to 40, Tiger did slow it down and actually turned it around. So we actually got to a point at the end when Dragon was trailing and had to really start playing carefully. And at 48 to 46 for Tiger, that's when the craziness started. Like that's when uh,
Yeah.
they just hid from each other. They didn't want to, really go at it with at close range. Dragon suicided twice to reset his health.
Right. Right at the end, which was super. I don't know how I feel about that.
That second suicide was probably a mistake. The first one worked well, and that
Yes.
probably gave Dragon confidence to try it again. But that second one didn't go as planned. So it actually
Yeah.
ended up, after all of this uh, super, super careful uh, running around and hiding away, then it suddenly was 49 to 48. Dragon ties it, and then they just face each other and just start flailing wildly. And that could have been
Yep.
anyone's frag, anyone's shot. But Dragon couldn't. He got the first shot, but he couldn't kill Tiger. I was
Yeah.
wondering how much health Tiger got left, but
Probably not a
Tiger
lot.
one shotted
Yeah.
him and took it. Like that could have gone either way.
Yep. And if you ask Dragon, his explanation would be fucking RNG is what he would say. But
True,
that's what
true.
happens. That's Doom. RNG. But it was such a good game. Like, and to be able to then, for Tiger to take it to a game five on Mu2D, I mean, I think the score doesn't necessarily like okay, Dragon had some really, really good like I think he jumped out to an early lead and has some really good spawn frags. So it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard on a map like that to overcome that early
he
lead.
basically he built that lead early,
Hmm.
that +8 +10 ish lead, and then it just stayed that way. uh, I told you he just needs to trade frags from now on, and that's what he
Yeah.
did. Like every time someone got 3 frags, the other guy got 3 frags back.
Hmm.
They just And basically that meant Tiger never got close. Like the game looked competitive, but the score wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, Dragon ended up taking it 3 games to 2. Really close though. Like for Tiger to be able to, for anyone to be able to take somebody in the winners bracket to a game 5 from, or
Hmm.
like a deciding game from one player having a 1 game advantage. So it's really hard. So Tiger, they gave us a really good match. I was really excited to see it, see all the qualifiers sort of end on this exciting uh, winners bracket final. Yeah. So that's a short story, wrapping up like 20 hours of gaming in an hour and 30. But that just takes us to the grand final, which, as I mentioned before, we have the 16 players that have qualified. Um, just so everybody knows, if you don't know already, it'll be this coming Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. It'll be a 16-player bracket. We are going to change around some of the rules a little bit in the losers bracket, right? We're going to do best of 3, if I'm not mistaken. Did we decide on
Yes,
that officially?
I think we haven't completely decided on if it's going to be best of three all the way,
Okay. But we
but
will. We will. There may be some changes to how we've done the qualifiers, just based on like seems like the winners bracket has kind of finished up a lot faster, and we have players
yeah,
waiting around for the losers bracket. So we may try to do some things to extend that a little bit.
we might kick into BO5 in the winner bracket basically,
Yeah,
not sooner.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So how are we going to do? We're going to do the top 8 players for seeding, right?
Yes, we also decided that we'll seed when available. We'll seed the first and the second qualifier from every tourney.
Hmm. Right. So that's why where you finish can
Does
help
matter.
you in the grand final, and that's why having the opportunity to re-sign up and improve your seating, that's also could have been a good strategy should anyone if anyone had taken advantage of it, which nobody really did. So yeah, the cash payout, it's $1,000. Obviously, like if you're giving money to the top 4, not no one's gonna get $1,000, but we got a $600 to the person who wins it all, 250 to the person that comes in second, 100 to third place, and 50 to uh, fourth place. So, you know, $50 is a couple of good games on Steam if you time it out, or you get the right gaming money combo there. But I mean, I would take $50 if I could. So pretty exciting.
So, do you have like any hot takes,
Mm,
any
hot
shocking picks
takes.
who might take the final?
You know,
Or
it's
are we just going to bite our tongue and not say anything
no.
to stay neutral?
I mean, I'm gonna stay neutral in that I'm paying someone regardless, right? So I don't have a dog in the fight, but I mean, it's going to be really hard for anyone to take out Nexus. That's going to be really tough. It's going to have to be, should somebody take him out, it's going to have to be
Well, I'm
on.
interested in Amar and Poto
Yeah,
because they had the most dominant performance both in the first tournament, and then Amar surprised Poto. So I wonder, like, is Poto doing any soul searching? Is he like, I can't get surprised like that. I will be ready and won't make that mistake anymore. Something like that, or like Amar gets confident enough that he might, outperform even Nexus.
well, I mean, if there's anything I can say about Poto, now granted, CTF is different than Duel, but I mean, he won the WDL last season, and he won Redemption. And more specifically, I suppose, in Redemption, his team lost the first round, and then He just changed up what was happening, and they ended up winning. And so he's a tough out. So even though, if let's say he loses and somehow ends up in the losers bracket, like I wouldn't count him out no matter what. Um, Amar is, I think they beat Amar. So I mean, like these guys, like it just depends on how well they're playing on that day. Like I think any one of them could do very well and win. Um, but what I was gonna say about Nexus is like it's got to be like a situation where maybe you take him and you play him on a server that isn't like there's no server that's gonna be close that's super close to Nexus, but maybe he has to end up playing on like a UK server or something like, or maybe, a map, like you just don't play him on a map that he's good on. Like, take advantage of a different kind of map. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just going
so
to be really hard to take out Nexus.
he's the guy to beat.
In my opinion, yeah. And I'm sure in a lot of other people's opinion as well. Yeah.
All
But
right.
hot takes. Hot takes.
Any
Dwango
Russians in
5
the top
map
four?
1 is going to be the most played map. They're gonna go full on 20 minutes to try and drag things out. Any Russians?
Any Russians in the four?
Yeah, I think Dante. I think Dante will get into the top four.
Another loser bracket crusade.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's good enough to do it. He's just gotta. One, we have to make sure this tournament ends before he said in the chat earlier that he left the Saint because the St. Petersburg bridges are locked at midnight on during the
Though
summer. So we gotta, yeah.
there's also two Brazilians who might want to say something about that.
Well, they certainly could. I think there's Ghost Killer and Skull Rush as who as well who I don't know. It's there's such a like the top eight are so
Mm.
strong. I think in this that it's really hard to pick. I think it could really go in a
I
bunch of
see.
different directions.
I see like some players who on paper should be the cream of the crop, like the first rank.
Hmm.
But as you say, there's a bunch of players like the Brazilians, Dante, Cornox maybe, who if they play their cards right, they might upset even the top dogs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you are obsessed with Judas and you don't get to play Judas, you might, or insert your favorite map here. You might get pissed,
Mm.
and it might tilt you. Especially when it comes to money, things get weird. People get nervous. Um, if you don't get to play in your like perfect conditions, it can really like mess with you. So I don't know. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it at like QuakeCon all those years when like Dev and Jkiss and Demon Sphere would play. Like uh, different things happen. If you can't fly your desk out to Dallas, Texas, and play on it like Jkiss wanted, like you just never know what's going to happen. So I don't know. All I know is it's going to be fun, and everyone should come and watch. We're working on getting streamers, so hopefully we get a few people who are streaming some games and we get some good commentary. But we'll have more info on that hopefully this week. That's all I
All
got.
right.
What about you? Any hot takes?
Any hot takes? Uh I guess that BSP Epi will be the most played map.
I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that. Yeah. Well, all right. Thanks for doing this with me. It's been really exciting and fun to do one of these again. We will definitely not wait 6 years, but it's not over yet. So everybody better come back next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern for the grand final.